On that, there was a big story obviously this week with Ben Jason Dixon.
Yes.
I see obviously with Marnie Lubbock also now.
Yes.
Aren't the agents becoming a massive problem for our players in South Africa to stay in the country because they're hearing in their ear they can sign bigger deals across the globe? So I mean, how big of a problem is
you and I
that?
could drink a beer and I'll give you about 3 hours of what I think is that. Agents are genuinely not worried about the player. I mean, they just want the deal. And anyone who tells me it's my client, and again, I want to turn this around, we are the client. Because if we don't pay the players, there is no deal. And so this thing about I look after my client, is it doesn't hold water when you're talking about the client is actually the unions who pay the salaries. And so, yeah, I mean, I can spend hours with you and say the agents, when they've got a mandate to be able to send players overseas and still be eligible to play for their country, it's like a freebie for them. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Other agents in other countries can't send their players overseas because they won't be eligible to play for their country. And I talk that from experience because, Ronaldo, when I was the coach of the Boks, I remember agents telling me, you're killing my job because you're picking the same box side year in and year out. And remember those days was the Colpack deal where you had to play X amount of games before you go overseas. And agents would tell me when I saw them, you're killing our business because every year you pick the same 25, 30 players and the others can't go because they're not internationals, and the ones that are you keep picking them and they're staying here. So I mean, I've got first-hand appreciation of the fact that, you know, when the agents have got free pass to send guys overseas, make money, and still get that player to be eligible to play for the country, then they would do it. But they're not helping the provinces. I mean, you know, I'm old enough to tell you that if Doc Late was working, he would have called a couple of agents in and said, let me tell you how it works, boys. You know, you're not going to be selling players overseas because they need to stay. Because when we negotiate deals with sponsors in our country, we need to sell them the fact that our best players are playing every week. Isn't that how business works? I mean, one of the key things that happened when they signed the Super Rugby deal was remember at that stage in 1995, there was a massive fear that all our best players were going to go and play with Murdoch and all that sort of thing. And one of the provisos of signing the Super Rugby deal was that we wouldn't send second-rate, third-rate players in comparison to the players that we had. Not for 1 minute saying the players here are second and third rate. All I'm saying is this is not the best players we can put on the field every week for 4 franchises. And I know, I mean, you guys always look at me but I'm not gonna stop saying to you, let it be. You know, let's accept, because it's not. I'm in the job of winning rugby games, and you know, Toby Faletau coming off the bench is a British and Irish Lion. Our guy coming off the bench is not equivalent anything to that. You know? So yeah, I genuinely think, Ronaldo. I mean, I'm shouting into the hills and going, we've got to be careful because once Kirtley goes, if he goes, we're just going to start a whole new cycle of the next generation going. And then, as I said, there's a wonderful winger at Paul Jim, and there's a wonderful, lock at Ermalua, and there's whatever, But gee, there always has been, and there always will be. But at the end of the day, we want to keep the cream playing every weekend together in our 4 franchises.